When you have something in you, I always tell my students, writers have to write. We write because we have to.
You have come from like just a legacy of just greatness. Your father being the Chief of Justice, your mother doing a lot of great things in the community.
I had this family for whom education was just critical. Both my parents, my father, struggled but went to law school. He was in the service for a long time. And then after the war, he came back. He'd gone to college and he came back and then went to law school because that's what he wanted to do, and he wanted to pursue his dream. My mother was very, very smart. She went to Simmons when she was 16. She always loved books. She knew she wanted to be a librarian, so that's what she did. She got her master's in library science from Simmons. And headed up the Boston Public Schools library program. I really got into reading and getting into other people's worlds and lives, and I wanted to create that. So my mother was a huge influence in me becoming a writer. My father was also a patron of the arts. They made sure we had black art in the house, and that was hard at that time, back in the 50s and 60s. They made sure we had black professionals in our lives. We went to a black pediatrician, a black dentist. It just was amazing, the community in Roxbury that I grew up in. There was just this idea that you're gonna fulfill your potential, whatever that may be.
Now you have a play. Can you talk a little bit about what sparked that, what it's about, and how it all came about?
When my first novel came out, which was called Breathing Room, came out in 2001. It was after, a career practicing law, and my father had been a lawyer, so I was really nervous to tell him I was going to make this switch. But he was actually really proud of me, and he said to me, I wrote a musical when I was running for office, because he ran for representative here many moons ago. He wrote songs, he cast it, it was, it ran for a couple of weeks here in Boston. I was just like, wow. So he had that creativity, spark in him as well. So I wrote a novel, and it did pretty well. Not well enough for Oprah to call me, I guess, but but I started teaching writing, which has been a joy for me. I started teaching at Duke Ellington High School of the Arts, and then moved to Howard, where I'm still teaching creative writing and mostly fiction and nonfiction. And I wrote the novel. I've been writing short stories and that kind of thing. Dialogue has always been somewhat easy for me, easier than, say, description. So writing a play it felt like the natural next thing to do because it's mostly dialogue. And one year I was down on Martha's Vineyard, and there was a gentleman from Madison Park who spoke. And he was talking about how Hibernian Hall was starting to do this theater and different things in the community, and they were really looking for new artists to display. And I was like, oh. So I beelined over to him after he finished talking. I said, I have these short plays, can you look at them? He was like, send them my way. And he got what I was trying to do with those plays. And, to his credit, he made it happen. Hearing actors read words that I had written and just kind of seeing it come to life, I was hooked. And so Hibernian did this wonderful thing and made me their playwright in residence for the year. And part of that agreement was that I would also do a full-length play the next year. Thus, with Glittering Eyes. And I had never written a full-length play, so I went right back to Grub Street to the master playwriting class.
Brush up on my skills.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's where I started with Glittering Eyes in that class. But I was also fortunate because I had gone to a family reunion of my husband's family. And that family reunion was where all these secrets were divulged. You know how every family has a secret?
All have them.
So this story came out of one of those secrets in my husband's family, and I have to really thank him for allowing me to use that as inspiration. And so it's the story of this huge family secret that affects all these generations and has repercussions that can never totally be repaired. And so that's the story, and it's just been thrilling. I have a great director, Dawn M. Simmons, who now is the director of Stage Source. She has this amazing energy and insight. And the amazing thing about doing a play is that because the actors are on top of their game, they're like, well, who is this character? And what happened to her before? And why is she this? So it's made me do more inner work on the play itself and learn more about it and learn more about the characters. And it's just been a tremendous journey. I'm really excited about it.
When you talk about generations, how the secret affected generations, Has it been a healing process?
Not so much for me because it did not happen to me, but what it did for me is made me think about secrets within my own family. I had a grandmother who died when I was 3, and I never understood why she died. There always seemed to be this air around the story that, you know, made me feel like there was something I didn't know. And finally one year when I came home from college, I asked my grandfather, who was living with us at the time, it had been his wife who died, and I said to him and my mother, I remember we were in the kitchen, what happened to Grandma? And they both looked at each other. I could tell they didn't really want to tell me, and I said, listen, I'm 18. When do I get to know? And finally they told me that she had taken her own life. And that was a stigma at the time. She had depression. That was a stigma. She didn't really get help for her depression, and she took her own life. But I felt like I was sad to know that, but I felt like, okay, now at least I understand what I've been feeling, that, you know, there was something missing that I didn't know. Family secrets, they can do harm, you know, so if they can be told without hurting anyone, let them out. And that was the lesson for me in the sense of healing. But the fact that, you know, he's like, you have my blessing to do this, I'm grateful.
You just pulled me in. I wanna be in front row seeing these actors and actresses do this.
People should get their tickets because we plan to fill that place up. It runs from the weekend of October 18th through 21st, and then the following Thursday through Sunday, October 25th through 28th. So yeah, come on out.
All right.
See it. Yeah.
All right.